Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The six of us are going to presenting the around the world mixer presentation in this video. We choose South American and the chosen countries are Brazil and Colombia. Brazil is known as the largest country in South America and the fifth largest nation in the world. Located at the central eastern part of the continent, Brazil is in the largest portion of it lies south of the equator. Besides, Brazil is also South America's most influential country since it is the country that occupies about 50% of South America. Its agricultural exports include sugarcane, latex, coffee, cocoa beans, cotton, soybeans, rice, and tropical fruits. They also producing chemicals, steel, aircraft, and cars, which make Brazil as the most industrial nation in South America. Brazil's current president is Jair Bolsonaro, and the vice president is Antonio Hamilton Martins Mauro. The president is both head of state and head of government, and of a multi-party system. Presidents, mayors, and governors are elected by majority of citizens with a run-off system, which means if no parties got more than 50% votes, the two most voted candidates will face off to decide who to get elected. The union is divided into three independent powers that are balanced among themselves, which are legislative, executive, and judiciary. Legislative is the one that drafts laws, the executive acts to execute programs or provide public services, and the judiciary who resolve conflicts between citizens, entities, and the state. Colombia is the fourth largest country in South America and one of the continent's most populous nations with an area of 1,138,914 kilometers. The country is somewhat larger than twice the size of France and slightly less than twice the size of the US state of Texas. Colombia has substantial oil reserve and is a major producer of gold, silver, emeralds, platinum, and coal. Colombia sends variety of items to overseas, for example, coffee, bananas, oil, coal, gold, platinum, and emeralds. Colombia has significant natural resources and its culture reflects the indigenous Indian, Spanish, and African origins of its people. Colombia's current president is Ivan Duque Marquez and their vice president is Marta Lucía Ramirez Blanco. Colombian government consists of a democratically elected representative system with a strong executive. Colombia used to elect their president, vice president, congress, and regional council with rules of the new constitution. The current constitution describes the country as a social state, a unitary and decentralized republic with partial autonomy of regional authorities, which is based on participative and pluralist democracy.
Okay, next is demographic factor. Firstly is language. Brazil's official language is Portuguese and it is the only language that they use in newspaper, radio, and so on. So if you want to do a business in Brazil, we need to learn their language as it is very important and it has a national culture that different from neighboring culture. So for the first time we meet Brazilian, politely we need to politely to say muito prazer, which means my pleasure, and asking hello if when we know someone is like como vai. So for Brazilian, personal relationship are valued in business, so do not rush to talk about business. Okay, in Colombia, Spanish is the language that used to speak. So to enter the Colombian market, it is necessary to show seriousness in speaking their language. Even though there are many Colombia companies that have national prospect, do not assume that all staff can speak in English. So for the first time meeting with the prospective partner should be accompanied by a local interpreter that able to determine whether the prospective partner is confident of doing business in English. Okay, second is income. Brazil's source of income come from three sectors, which are agriculture, industry, and services. Brazil's 5.8% revenue come from agriculture, 23.8% from industry, and 70.4% from services by budget in 2014. So, if we want to do a business in Brazil, we need to investigate first their source of income so that we can get more revenue from the sector. It is because income for Brazilian workers is generated from consumer spending. The more consumers spend, the more income you will get. So make sure the business you run is attract customer. On the other hand, Colombia main export is petroleum, where it contributes 45% of Colombia export, while manufacturing is 12%. So shipbuilding in the world outside of Asia is also one of the largest industry in Colombia. In 2014, Colombia had a major booming economy in Western world. Okay, the economic factor for Brazil. As we know, Brazil is a country that is advanced in terms of agriculture, mining, manufacturing, and services, with the GDP is $1.57 million. So Brazil also one of the country that recover its economy after the financial crisis. These are the factors that caused the reduction of damage due to global financial crisis as well as economic stabilization. In Colombia, due to the climate and the topography of the country, agriculture is extensive and very diverse, such as coffee, bananas, and flower. However, after the existence of the service and industry sector, the GDP of agriculture decreased, but the contribution of manpower in agriculture sector is very important, where it contributes 16.2%.
Next is population. According to Worldometer elaboration of the latest United Nations data, the current population for Brazil is 2,213,403,188 millions of people. It is equivalent to 2.73% of the total population. 87.6% is urban, which is consists about 186,270,070 people, while another 12.4% is rural, which is consists 26,342,347 of people. While compared to Colombia, the current population in Colombia is about 51,185,060 millions of people. It is equivalent to 0.65% of the total population. 80.4% of the population is urban, which is consists 40,891,996 of people, while the balance 19.6% is rural, which is consists 9,990,895 of people. The next one is social. Social is a status level in society, whereby the grouping of individuals is based on wealth, occupations, income, or educational attainment. In Brazil, the traditional social class distinction between upper class, middle class, and lower class. So for the upper class, the Brazilian is among the wealthiest. For example, lawyer, doctor, or engineer. In Brazil also, the people in upper class are expected to be Caucasians. Next, for the middle class. People in the middle class is which are making ends meet. They are not wealthy, but they are able to go for a vacation if they make a saving. And the last one is lower class. The people in lower class is considered as poor. They have limited income and they have to struggle to make a living. Typically, these people in this class is considered to be black, or if their employment, they are a servant or housekeeper. Okay, the next one is social class in Colombia. Same goes to Brazil. In Colombia, there are upper class, middle class, and lower class. So for the upper class, there are two interrelated groups, which is first the traditional landed elite, and the next one is the new rich with who own their status primarily to successful entrepreneurship. Next, for the middle class, there are upper middle class and lower middle class. For the upper middle class, they are gradually merged into elite class that and was composed medium-sized landowner or entrepreneurship. Typically, the people in this upper middle class did not consider themselves in this middle group, but they are attempted to have a place in upper class. And for the lower middle class, they consist bulk of middle class, for example, clerks and housekeeper. The people in this lower middle class, they tended to be less concerned with imitating upper class and focusing on making a living. And the last one for the lower class middle, the lower class and masses together constitute the largest sector and rural in urban society, which about 75%. Those who are in this lower class consists of labor and small farmer.
Brazil is the world's largest producer of soy and coffee. Coffee is one of important export in Brazil in early 20th century, but in 1990s they found soy contribute more revenue than coffee. Besides that, Brazil is also the second largest iron producer in the world. They also produce aluminium, coal, and fuels because Brazil is rich with minerals. Colombia is still as one of the biggest economy in
economies in Latin America. Between 2000 and 2010s, industry sectors such as mining, tourism, shipbuilding, construction, and electronic grew rapidly. In electronic manufacturing, Colombia became the largest producer of electronic in South America and third largest producer behind Mexico and Brazil. For mining sector, Colombia stayed as the second largest gold producer, important producer of coal, and produced about 19% of world's emerald. Technology in Brazil, it started in 1980s with the presence of TOTVS. TOTVS is a multinational technology company in the Brazil that established to provide the business solution to all the business in Brazil. They provide the business solutions such as artificial intelligence software platform, enterprise resource planning, and also Internet of Things. The government also helped this TOTVS by launching the Brazilian Association in Private Equity and Venture Capital. By this initiative, the software technology in Brazil can grow forward and help business in their country to strengthen the business management. Besides that, many online retailers around the world are investing in Brazil due to their successful e-commerce. For example, Alibaba, Walmart, and Brazil increased their operation to serve about 140 million of internet users in Brazil for purchasing goods online. While in Colombia, they have Rappi, RAPPI, as their infamous startups. Rappi is the first delivery service with the use of modern technology and smartphones in its business model to make it easier for users to access. This app allows users to purchase their necessities online, as the app accesses hundreds of eateries, grocery stores, pharmacy, and more. The app should be downloaded on their smartphone, and they only need to select the item they want. The payment also can be done by online banking. Other than that, the Ministry of Communication and Transportation creates apps.co as an initiative to turn the ideas of their people into a business. Since 2012, this program has helped about 2,175 companies and support more than 137,000 people by focusing on development of software, mobile application, and content.
Trading partner for country Brazil and Colombia.
Brazil is among the world's 25 biggest exporter and importer. The United States has a sizable economic potential. In 2019, Brazil exports have been delivered to the above 15 exchange partners. Year over year, 4 among the greatest importers expanded their purchase of export from Brazil, particularly Japan, Colombia, Mexico, and the United States. Below is the list showcasing 15 of Brazil's pinnacle buying and selling companies in terms of export sales, countries that import the most Brazilian shipments through greenback fee. China, US, Netherlands, Argentina, Japan, Chile, Mexico, Germany, Spain, South Korea, Canada, Belgium, Italy, Colombia, and UK. Between September 2019 and September 2020, the export of Brazil have diminished from $20.3 billion to $18.5 billion, whilst import reduced from $16.5 billion to $12.3 billion. Brazil exports in the main to China, United States, Argentina, Netherlands, and Spain, and import frequently from China, United States, Argentina, Germany, and India. In 2018, Colombian exports were delivered to the above 50 chain partners. Below is the list showcasing 15 of Brazil pinnacle buying and selling companies in terms of export sales, which is United States, China, Panama, Ecuador, Turkey, Mexico, Brazil, Chile, Spain, Peru, Netherlands, Canada, St. Lucia, South Korea, and India. Colombia's import alternatives partners are the United States, China, Mexico, Panama, Brazil, Ecuador, Germany, and Turkey.
Global factor for country Brazil and Colombia.
The pandemic COVID-19 found Brazil experience a fragile recovery and limited fiscal policy space. In addition, this pandemic have resulted in the sharp decline in external demand and affected domestic demand and supply constraints.
The pandemic have raised uncertainty over the macroeconomic policy framework, particularly in the fiscal scenario, which translates into a risk of downturn, calling for strong fiscal consideration and the implementation of structural reform by 2021. The crisis caused a sharp decline in work income and jobs, increasing the likelihood of falling into poverty among low-wage workers and informal workers, two groups in which too many were represented. Pandemic COVID-19 hit the economy, causing a very deep recession. Oil price and lower global demand are expected to offset the decline in demand-driven import, while strong inflow and lower dividend to foreign direct investors are expected to cause the current account deficit to rise slightly from 4.2% of GDP in 2019 to 4.1% of GDP in 2020. Normalization of trade flow and the return of dividend payment away to foreign investors is expected to cause the current account deficit to increase in 2021 to stabilize 2% of GDP in 2022.
Brazil and Colombia both have their own difference about the business culture. As a person who are going to deal in that country, it is important to study about the business culture, their culture, to avoid any misunderstanding, since both of the country have different understanding and belief. The next business culture in Brazil are the body language. To deal with Brazilian for business, the eye contact is important, and physical contact such as back slapping the back hand against the palm is considered as not care or does not interest, and the OK sign is considered as true. People who are dealing with Brazilians should aware that to avoid giving any purple gift and black gift, because it is symbolized as funeral in Brazil. Don't be shocked if your personal life being questioned by Colombian, because they might ask some of personal life matters such as marital status and family living out of curiosity, so be prepared. So the last one is the business meeting in Colombia. So Colombians are more prefer to speak in their mother language, which is Spanish. So all of the material should be translated into Spanish. So the people who are dealing with them should be prepared all the materials and study about Spanish, and to know about the follow-up correspondence. It can be, if it possible, it can be done in person. If it impossible, it can be done through the phone call. So for the punctuality, it is opposite with the Brazil. So the Colombians are more punctual. It is important to be arrive on time in a meeting. However, late arrival are expected from Colombian. So the last one is the body language in Colombia. So the eye contact should be maintained to leave and give a positive impressions towards them, and during the dining, wrist and forearms can be rest on the table. However, the elbow should be avoid resting on the table because it is rude and not proper. And lastly is the movement of the fingers should be controlled, because they are sensitive to it, which is, but for example, the pointing to fingers are considered as obscene symbol, and do not use the middle finger to point or direct someone because it is considered as rude.
you.